Well, hey guys, here we are in the Kia Niro Hybrid, and we're about to take it for a spin. Obviously, I think this will be the most popular version of the new Niro, although there are different versions, the plug-in hybrid as well as the full EV version available. And for those of you that don't know and are like, who is this person sitting next to me? This is my fiance, Mackenzie. She's joining me on this press event because Drew is unfortunately not able to make it out to this press event here in California, so she'll be accompanying us on this test drive. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into that. All right, and there is 60 miles an hour in the hybrid, all-new Kia Niro. So, you might be curious as to what's under the hood of this vehicle, and it's going to be a 1.6-liter four-cylinder engine. It's naturally aspirated, plus, of course, a battery pack because this is a hybrid vehicle. It's coming in at 139 horsepower, 195 pound-feet of torque. So, those are actually very healthy numbers, and when I first got behind the wheel of this vehicle, I was actually very impressed. The torque figure particularly is where you will really notice it, because you just kind of punch it down, all that electric torque is kind of coming on board. That 195 pound-feet of torque for a smallish vehicle like this actually does kick you off pretty fast. And this is actually the least powerful Niro within the lineup. Now, if you're curious about the power for those other versions, the plug-in hybrid is going to have 180 horsepower, so about 41 horsepower more for the plug-in hybrid version of the Niro, the same amount of torque for that version, and the all-electric version is going to have 201 horsepower, and we actually have sampled out the Hyundai Kona EV, which shares a similar powertrain to that, and that's actually very quick. It's surprisingly quick. Like, it'll actually do a front-wheel drive burnout because this vehicle is front-wheel drive exclusive. Now, we're out here on a beautiful, beautiful California road on this Niro first drive, and I want you to pay attention as I accelerate there. You might have noticed that this actually has a traditional transmission. So surprisingly enough, you're not going to have a CVT, which is something you obviously expect out of something that gets this type of fuel economy, which we'll talk about in just a second. But we actually have a 6-speed dual clutch transmission on board. And I couldn't be happier with the transmission. It does a phenomenal job of just putting the power down. It has no drone, as you would expect, because it's not a CVT. It's relatively quick shifting gears. Now, some of you might say, okay, well, it's a 6-speed, it's not an 8-speed or a 9-speed transmission. I really have no issues with the 6-speed automatic. It does a good job, and it's certainly not expected in this segment of vehicle. Now, as far as how the power is put to the ground, it's going to be routed to the ground front-wheel drive across the entire Niro lineup. No all-wheel drive is available. Like I said, it really does put the power down. I mean, this is a pretty twisty country road here in California, and it's doing a really good job. I also want to mention the driving dynamics, because the Niro obviously is not focused on being a good driving vehicle. It's mainly focused on efficiency. That said, the Niro really does a good job as well. I mean, it feels more at home on these twisty roads than I would normally expect a vehicle within this segment to. So I'm very impressed by that. And it looks like we actually got stuck behind a little bit of traffic here, so I couldn't really finish talking about the driving dynamics, but I'm even in comfort mode right now, and if I put it into sport mode, it does actually heft the steering up just a little bit. Obviously, this is not like a race car or anything. It's still a Kia Niro, but it does have decent driving dynamics, which I'm pleasantly surprised by. Now, I won't keep you in suspense any longer. I will go ahead and discuss the fuel economy for the Niro. So we are looking at very, very impressive fuel economy. It's actually best-in-class fuel economy according to Kia. So we're looking at 53 MPG combined for the hybrid version of this vehicle. So that is I don't even have to tell you guys, that is phenomenal fuel economy. This particular tester, since we do have the larger 18-inch wheels, is coming in at 49 MPG. I think for 4 MPG, I certainly would get the nicer wheels if it were up to me. But that is great fuel economy, guys. And throughout our day of driving it, we've been driving it for about a few hours, I've certainly been hitting those fuel economy figures. Now, if you opt for a different version of the Niro, such as the plug-in hybrid, you might be curious as to how far you can go on a single charge. You're going to be sitting at 33 miles for that. So if you fully charge the vehicle up and have a short commute to work or whatnot, you could be looking at basically driving the Niro full electric, which is a really neat idea. And then if you go on a road trip, you have really exceptional fuel range as well. Now, for the full electric model, if you're interested in that, going full battery electric, you're going to have 253 miles of range, which is actually very impressive for a full battery electric vehicle. And we may be in California, but I still want to bring that Kentucky element into our Car Confections review. So we'll talk about the Slam Dunk and Airball today. So for the Slam Dunk, I think it's just without a doubt got to be the fuel economy. Getting 53 MPG is incredible, guys, and that is really the cheapest option in the Niro lineup. We'll talk about the pricing in just a second, but getting the hybrid version, you can get a hybrid very cheaply, and getting 53 MPG is just incredible. It's going to save you so much money in fuel costs over the lifetime ownership of the vehicle, and Kia really has offered other options if you'd rather have a plug-in hybrid or a full EV, so they've really knocked it out of the park in terms of that element. Now, as far as the Airball, if I had to pick something that I didn't really like about the Niro or would like to see different, I'm not a huge fan of the contrast side blade on the exterior of the vehicle. I think it's a cool design touch, although it's not my personal taste. Comment your thoughts down below what you think about that black side blade, but I would just prefer it to be body color, honestly. And one thing that I haven't already mentioned is just the handoff between the gas and electric motors. So right now the engine is completely off, and it just turned on. And it is seamless, guys. Throughout our drive today, we've been driving this car, like I said, lots of places here in California, and the handoff is phenomenal. You will not feel when the engine kicks on and off. It does a great job. And I even accelerated if you're on a flatter terrain than this. Obviously, we're on the side of a cliff right now, but if you're on a flat terrain, I got all the way up to 45 miles per hour before it kicked the gas motor on. And I really think that's how this Niro is able to achieve such exceptional fuel economy figures, is by really not kicking into the gas motor unless you very hardly accelerate, or if you're just going up a cliff like what you see today. And finally, now that we got out of traffic, I do want to mention your ride quality for the Niro. That's obviously an important element because, like I was mentioning, this car is not sport focused. I did talk about the driving dynamics, but that's just kind of a little bit of a bonus that this vehicle actually drives pretty nice. The ride quality is really what they're focused on, and I'm very impressed. This road is beat to pieces, isn't it, Kinsey? It's fully beat to pieces. And it's handling it really well. And we even have the largest wheels in the Niro lineup, these 18-inch wheels, and it's really doing a phenomenal job. I wouldn't expect anything in this segment to ride this well, and it is doing A+. And later on in this test drive, we will get a sound level reading once we can get up to 55 miles per hour. Okay, and I'm just lightly accelerating here. See how long we can keep it in electric mode. Going 22. Still, the engine is not kicked on. All the way up to 25. Looks like we're stopping again, but the engine never even turned on. Very, very impressive. It's
turn left onto Main Street.
excuse me. It's very, very smooth, and it's honestly kind of a weird sensation because this vehicle has a traditional transmission. You could actually feel it shift gears even though the engine is not on. And lastly here, I do want to mention the pricing for the Niro, because we've been talking about all the different benefits that you get throughout this entire review, but how much is it going to cost? And I'm pleasantly surprised to tell you it's actually very, very affordable. So I'll have Mackenzie over here read off some of the pricing for this vehicle.
Okay, so for the hybrid, the LX, we have $26,490. For the EX, $29,090. For the EX Touring, $31,390. The SX, $32,490. The SX Touring, $34,790, and then for the plug-in hybrid, the EX is $33,740, and the SX Touring for the plug-in is $39,490, and then the total MSRP is $36,435 for the one that we're in today.
Yeah, and the one we're in today is the hybrid with fully loaded out. This is the SX with the Touring package. So this is as high-end as you can get the hybrid model, and to be coming in at a $36,000 price tag, I really do think that this cabin is very nicely finished. You're getting excellent fuel economy, and really I think that's just the conclusion of this video. This Kia Niro in its all-new package for 2023 is certainly very impressive. They're going to sell a lot of these babies because you have a really just phenomenal overall package of a lot of space, a lot of comfort, and the efficiency that many people are looking for. We just drove by a gas station that was $6.30 a gallon. So if you don't want to be spending thousands and thousands of dollars of your money on fuel every year, this Niro might be something you're interested in looking at.